Back in 2019, I was at a conference in Macau, and I got a little bit smug about some of my entries because you got to remember some of my games I have the number 1, number 2 AI in the world, and sometimes I get a little bit smug. I couldn't find a couple of my opponents for one game that I had written, and I decided to go out to look for my favorite seaweed snack. Now, I couldn't find it. I thought I could get it at the 7-Eleven that was just across the street, but they didn't have the brand I was looking for. They come in multiple brands, and some of them have MSG added, which is what I'm trying to avoid. Now, I could have just gone back to the conference, but I got so prepped up for wanting that I went all around Macau looking for it, and I got lost finding the hotel on the way back. And by the time I got back, everybody was starting to pack up when finally they see me, and my opponent was very upset at me. And I was very late because I got lost looking for the hotel on the way back. Now, in March of 2020, our first day of the lockdown, I was living in an Airbnb at the time. I had gone to a local QFC grocery store to look for my favorite kielbasa sausages. Not surprisingly, they were sold out. So was half of the store. And I went to several stores and I couldn't find them. And I asked the manager if she could look up on her computer when they were going to come in. I gotta understand, there were a lot of people panicking at the time, and it wasn't. She wasn't really in the mood to be looking for stuff like that. And so we got into a heated discussion. My mom had called me that day, actually. She was concerned about me, and she overheard all this commotion of me arguing with the store manager. And my mom offered to overnight me some of those kielbasa sausages. I didn't want her to bother because she's in a relatively high-risk group for COVID-19. I didn't want her to go into a crowded grocery store or a post office. And when I realized that I said that I didn't want my mom to take these risks involved, I realized how stupid I was. And I decided to instead, because I couldn't find the kielbasa sausages anyway, I decided to start an intermittent fast. I already had a number of hours at that point, obviously, and I think I ended up going about 40-some hours at the beginning of COVID-19. Go back and watch my video if you are curious. I was in Phoenix, and I had a favorite a favorite restaurant, and I was on my way there, and there was traffic, construction. I was living in Chandler, a suburb of Phoenix. I needed to go into downtown Phoenix, near where the Desert Botanical Garden is, about a 10-15 mile drive. But on the way onto the highway, construction, and I want to say a 10-15 minute delay. And by the time I entered the highway, I was in such a mess that I was racing along the highway. I normally don't even like to go the speed limit, and that day I was going maybe 10-20 over the speed limit. And it just seemed like the miles got longer and longer. I think the highway might have been 10 miles long, but each mile just got longer and longer and longer and longer. And then when I got to the restaurant, I was in such a messed up mood and really embarrassed myself. I mean, I made a number of connections at that restaurant, but I really embarrassed myself that time to the point that I didn't want to go back for, if I remember correctly, about a month after that. Anyway, my question to you is, would you rather be eating food, or would you rather food be eating you?